Welcome again, my beloved brethren of Anioma land, my beloved Igbo brothers and sisters, and my beloved Edo brothers and sisters. I am your most humble servant and scholar, Dr. Nwankwo Anthony Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S, the Odogwu of Igbo clan, President, International Coalition Against Christian Genocide in Nigeria, and Pioneer Director, Center for Igbo Studies, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Today, I'm going to look at Anioma identity and Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S, Fuzzy Ethno-Linguistic analysis. Let me repeat it. I am going to deal on Anioma Igbo identity and Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S Fuzzy Ethno-Linguistic analysis. I watched her 4-minute TVC outing in which she still maintained the issue of Igbo identity of Anioma people, which here recourse to the historical properties of the people. She went ahead to propound the idea that Anioma people belong to the Southeast and better off with the Southeast. As far as I am concerned, Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S, or Ndisika'S, well, let me just say Professor Abigail Ogwezzy, which is her maiden name. The other one is just hyphenated, following her husband, following the surname of her husband. Let me say that she is a professor of mass communication and not professor of history. She's not professor of anthropology. She's not professor of sociology. She's not professor of linguistics. She's not professor of anthropology. These are the core disciplines that can effectively and professionally deal with the issue of Anioma identity, ethnic identity, ethno-linguistic identity. Not a mass communication professor. At any rate, within the university academic discipline, mass communication is not classed among the core intellectual disciplines in the university. It's a technical subject. It's a technical subject matter. So for she to delve into the issue of Anioma identity, which is historical, which is anthropological, which is ethnographic, which is ethno-linguistic in character, is a befuddlement which has to be corrected at this point. It has to be corrected because, let me put that, Anioma is a land of intellectuals. We have many people who bear the title of professors of history, professors of anthropology, but they've been very cautious, knowing the intricate properties of ethnic definition. They're very, very cautious in coming out to engage in these contestations about Anioma, Igbo identity, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of them, professors of history, anthropology. They're quite, because to understand not only the matter of interdisciplinary boundaries, but also the intradisciplinary boundaries. There being a historian, an expert in one area, does not make you an expert in another area of history. And when I'm talking of Anioma identity. I'm talking about Anioma identity in historical and ethno-linguistic terms, based on my expertise. I watched Professor Abigail Ogwezzy from Emu in Ndokwa West local government area, turning out what I consider as a half-truths and fabricated lie based on her ignorance. I mean, based on her ignorance. I watched. Let me even look at her TV out, because she did 2 outings, one on Facebook or whatever, or just freelance video, and the first one on TVC. But what actually, because when he did the TVC on, I was busy with Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S matter, so I didn't consider her outing relevant to me. But why I decided to come out this time is because of her second outing, where she openly challenged Anioma scholars to come and challenge her. And today, I am challenging Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika to academic debate over Anioma identity, Anioma ethnic identity, Anioma ethno-linguistic identity. I'm challenging her openly. If she knows she's a professor, what her onions? I'm challenging her for open debate on this Anioma identity issue. Either by TV, organized by TV, or organized by another group of people through Zoom, so that we can raise this issue of bastardization of Anioma identity, Anioma history, or whatever, Anioma Igbo connection, Anioma Edo connection, once and for all. Ned Nwoko has always been recruiting ragtag set of defenders. First, ragtag social media giants, turning out nonsense, insults on people on the issue of Anioma identity. Now it followed ragtag traditional rulers who came and started turning out what they do not know. And then it's a ragtag professor named Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika from University of Lagos, Department of Mass Communication. At least the older professors in University of Lagos, I am not unfamiliar to them when it comes to intellectual matters. In fact, Professor Ayodele Olukoju was my PhD external examiner. Ayodele Olukoju of Department of History and Strategic Studies, University of Lagos, was my PhD external examiner. In 1998, I was, as an assistant lecturer, I was invited by the Department of Political Science, University of Lagos, to deliver a lecture on Igbo-Yoruba relations by late Professor Olugbemi, then head of Department of Political Science, University of Lagos. So when some of us are talking, we are talking based on expertise, and I've done a lot of works. Abigail was spilling nonsense that anybody who wants to debate with her should come on scientific journal. What does she know about? Has she done any publication on Igbo-Yoruba relationship, on Igbo-Edo relationship, on Igbo history, on history? On Anioma, has she done any little paper, any single essay on that matter? I want her right away to Google, not my name, but Google Edo-Igbo relations, Edo-Igbo linguistic relations. Let him Google. He will see one of my mainland articles on that. And when you're also talking about ethnic studies, I've done on Igbo-Yoruba relations. I've done on Edo-Igbo and Southern Nigerian relations. And in fact, one of my first basic mainland books, which was published in New York, published in New York by by library, whatever of this thing, of America, published 1997, was on Ngoni of Southern Africa. And who are the Ngoni? Ngoni people were the Nguni, part of what you have today as the Zulu people and the other people of Southern Nigeria, who migrated, left South Africa and pushed in, following the 19th century Infakene. They moved into Mozambique, they moved into Mali, Malawi, and they moved into Tanzania. The Nguni people, they are ethnically defined as Nguni today, but they have lost their Nguni language. They are ethnically defined as Nguni people, but they have lost their ethnic language. Mutual intelligibility, mutual linguistic intelligibility does not define commonality of ethnicity. That is an accepted intellectual dictum. There are two groups of people are speaking related languages. They understand each other without learning. Does not make them one ethnic group. This is an intellectual dictum. So I'm challenging Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S, whatever. Let me not eat up my tongue. I'm challenging her to a debate on this matter. It's not a question of being recruited by Nedumoko to come on the televisions, online, and spin ignorance. Now she talked about, now let us even look at what she said about Anioma people. She said first that is by political history. Our people, because our people have been known as Western Igbo, that define our people Igbo. That is quite unacademic in analysis. That our people have been defined. When did our people become known as Western Igbo? That is at what point? Let her know that before the advent of British colonization, the present Anioma people were never known as Ndibo by Igbo of the Southeast today. They were never known as Ndibo by the Gala. They were never known as Ndibo by the Edo. If you go to Benin history, if you go to early Benin history, even their culture, Anioma identity before Edo people are divided into two. The present Eka and Enuan people were known as Eka. And that is why today, in Benin language classification, they don't classify the Eka-speaking groups in Edo State as Igbo. They classify them as Eka because that is the original identity, that's the original ethnic identity of this people. They classify Ndokwa people as Olu. And that is what the Igbo of the Southeast refer to our people. Ndiolu. And because of the mutual intelligibility, culture sharing, and some historical interchanges, mixed migrations, the Igbo will often say, Olu ni Igbo bụ nwanne. Olu ni Igbo bụ nwanne. Olu and Igbo, kinsmen are brothers. Which clearly, distinctively, defines ethnic differences between the two groups. The idea or the concept of Western Igbo began first by Northcote Thomas during his investigation, during his research, anthropological research of the Asaba district, not the whole Anioma, of the Asaba district. If you go to his work, published in 1914, Northcote Thomas, in his analysis, and that was what he said, that our Igbo, even in his analysis, that there's nothing, no relationship between Anioma people and Igbo of the South except language. That was not called Thomas's conclusion. Every outside language, and even that language came as a result of interaction. We're not saying that they were like Maita Ibuzo. Majority co-founders of Ibuzo migrated from the East. But not all Ibuzo people originated from not all the ancestors of the Ibuzo people originated from the East. And so it is in every Western Igbo community. Just as the idea of Edo as a collective entity, ethnic identity, was only created by the same Northcote Thomas during his investigation, during his ethnographic research trips in Edo land. But then if you look at Talbot, Percy Amori Talbot's work on southern Nigeria, where he extensively deal a bit, on our historical and ethnographic character of our people. Let us see totality Igbo. When he classified Igbo of constituting 30 tribes, he found that the present Anioma people were classified as Eka Igbo. That is borrowing the original nomenclature and merging it with a new concept of Igbo. It was at that point that our people now became known as part of ethnic group Igbo, Eka Igbo. It was Percy Amori Talbot that first used that one in his classification of 30 Igbo tribes who were defined as 30 Igbo. And in fact, the idea of Western Igbo was now adopted by Ford and Jones in their 1950 publication. The Igbo and Ibibio, speaking peoples of Southeastern Nigeria, published 1950 by International African Institute, London. That was when he classified the Igbo into 6 groups. And let me even say 5, because it was Igbo that further extended it to 6. He now classified as people as Western Igbo. And even in this Western Igbo, he was. Because I don't know how many books on Igbo history and culture and linguistics Professor Abigail Ogwezzy has written, has read. I don't know. Before going to, before the public to spin out her ignorance of Anioma history. I don't know how many books she has read. It was Ford and Jones in their work that now define our people as Western Igbo. Western Igbo. You now have the Southern Igbo. You now have what? You have the Northern Igbo. You have the Eastern Igbo. And you now have the Southeastern Igbo or Cross River Igbo. Now the Western Igbo was even classified as constituting the riverine. Together, as Igbo now can separated it between Western Igbo and riverine. But yet, you cannot totally separate riverine from Western Igbo because all of them are intermixed. It was at that point we became known as Western Igbo, from Eka Igbo to Western Igbo. So I don't know how he borrowed the historical concept that because our people were defined as Western Igbo, and then that's enough qualifies them to be part of the Southeast. That was her. Now she's talking about linguistic affinity, about news. That in data state we are classified as Igbo. You can classify as Igbo. Oh, we have Igbo, Urobo, Isoko, Ishakiri, and Ijo 5. Now let me ask her. What is the difference between Isoko and Urobo linguistically? What is the difference that qualifies Isoko to be a distinct ethnic group apart Urobo? that makes Ukwane not to be a distinct language apart from Igbo. And she's talking about 5 Igbo linguistic groups in Edo State, in Bende State. Yes. But then, why is it that during newscasting, 7 languages are read? Igbo is never a language in newscasting in Delta State. It is Urobo, Ishekiri, Ijon, Isoko, Okwane, Eka, and Enuane. These are the 7 newscasting, linguistic newscasting in Delta State. So I don't know what he's talking about. That because they classified it and so on and so forth. And she was talking, he said, I thought people try to interlope, try to jump into what they don't know, simply because they bear the title of professor. Professor is by appointment. It does not, it's even political in some instances. It does, including for favoritism. It does not totally define the academic expertise of the bearer of that title. So being a professor does not mean you cannot come and spin ignorance, spin disinformation, spin lies, spin half-truths over the identity of Anioma people because you are bearing the title of professor. And some people are ignorant people are clapping for you. You're not telling them, oh, because we are Igbo. What we are Igbo. What does he know about Igbo? What is the difference between being Igbo and being of Igbo? Because somebody who does not know, who was not present when a corpse was buried, will always exhume it from the legs. Because we're Igbo. What is the difference between being Igbo and being of Igbo? Igbo simply means speaking related language to Igbo. Speaking related language to Igbo. Often mutually intelligible. And there is even some languages that are mutually unintelligible, that people cannot understand themselves, yet they belong to the same ethnic group. When you are defining an ethnic group, it does not only go with language. The political character is there. The social character is there. And the cultural character is there. That's the definition of an ethnic group, not just language. And I've made it known. I've stated it in my work now. The Ngoni of Malawi. I specifically worked on the Ngoni of Malawi. The book is being used. You can Google my name and see the book there. The Ngoni. They lost their language. They are speaking the language of their host communities. But here they retain their identity as Ngoni people from South Africa. Because of what? Historical, cultural, religious, social, and political structures, identity, which have been maintained. These are the definite characters of an ethnic identity, an ethnic group. There are many Igbo people today who don't even know how to speak Igbo language. That does not stop them from being identified as Igbo. There are many Igbo people today who speak Yoruba, but they cannot speak the Igbo language. That does not make them ethnically Yoruba. We are not talking of Igbo. I'm not talking of Igbo. There is, when you are anthropological, we are talking of Igbo. You are not talking of people speaking related Igbo languages, not definitely Igbo. And here you have Igbo proper, speaking Southeast. You have Okwane. You have Enuane. You have Eka. You have Ikwere. You have Eche. You have Oba. These are not definitely all Igbo, but they are Igbo. Let us even go, when you're not talking of Edoid speaking groups, not Edo speaking, Edoid. We are not talking of Edoid. Edo speaking group does not constitute one single ethnic group. Because I want Abigail. I don't know what she teaches her students at University of Lagos. So when you're talking of Edoid, you're not talking of one ethnic group. Just like the same way, if you're talking of Igbo, you're not talking about one ethnic group. Mutually intelligible. It's not in all cases. Because what an Orobo man speaks today, an Esam will not understand him. An Esako will not understand him. But they belong to the same Edoid cultural, ethno-cultural complex. And we're talking about what? We're talking, that is why you don't talk about linguistics. You talk about ethno-linguistics. Ethno-linguistics. You talk of Igbo-speaking people, Yoruba-speaking peoples. Not Yoruba people, not Igbo people. Let us even look how many ethnic groups make up Idoid-speaking groups. And ask me why the case of Anioma will be different. Now, when you're talking about, you have Benin proper, which is an ethnic group of its own. You have Asian, you have Onwan, you have Esaka, you have Urobo, you have Isoko. These are distinct ethnic groups. Even though most of them are mutually intelligible, they can understand each other without learning. There are still in Igbo land today, Igbo proper, there are communities that are mutually unintelligible. They cannot understand each other. When somebody from Iza, Ikwo, or Izi in Abakaliki speaks their deep, their Igbo language, the man from Oka Onitsha, Owerri, will not understand him. Yeah, they're all classified as Igbo. Let us even look at what we call the devoid linguistic, ethno-linguistic complex. What are the devoid ethno-linguistic complex? This includes one, you have Yoruba. When you're even talking of Yoruba, you're talking about Yoruba. When you're talking of Yoruba, you're talking about a particular section of the totality of Yoruba speaking, which is the Oyo, made up mainly of the present Oyo State, Osun State, and Kwara State. These are the Oyo speaking people of Yoruba, Oyo or Yoruba speaking people of Southwest. The rest have their own distinctive language. And we know how they became known as Yoruba. It was through the works of early Oyo Yoruba-born scholars, missionaries like Bishop Ajayi Crowther, James Johnson, and then James Johnson. Yes, these are the people who decided to use the term Yoruba to mean the ethnic identity of entire Yoruba-speaking people in Nigeria. They're not the same outside Nigeria. So the Jabu man is not supposed to be called Yoruba. The Ondo man is not supposed to be called Yoruba. The Lagos man, the Ekiti man, the Eba man, they're not supposed to be called Yoruba because they are not Yoruba. So the idea of using them as Yoruba is a misconception, misapplication, born out of historical necessity or historical imposition. Let me put it that way. Even though they are mutually intelligible, but now we classify them as one single ethnic. We're not talking of devoid. We have now mentioned Yoruba. You now talk Ichekiri. Ichekiri is a distinct ethnic group in Delta State, recognized also in Nigeria. There's no difference between Ichekiri and Yoruba. They're the same. So why should Anioma one be different? Ichekiri is Yoruba linguistically. So why are they not classified as Yoruba? Why are they a distinct ethnic group? We are not talking of Igala. Igala there in Kogi State. Igala there in Kogi State. Igala there in Enugu State. Igala there in Anambra State. Igala there in Delta State. Igala there in Edo State. Igala is because if you're an Igala person, you don't need to learn Yoruba. You don't need to study Yoruba. They are mutually intelligible. They're virtually the same language. Igala, but Igala is a distinct ethnic group. I hope Professor Abigail Ogwezzy is following this argument because I'm waiting for her for a debate, for open debate in this matter. You are not talking of Olukumi, which we have in our Nyocha local government area. Ubodu, Ukunzu, Idumogo, Ubulubu. They are speaking their own language. Olukumi, that is Yoruba. But if you ask an Oluku, if you go to Ubodu now and tell him he's speaking in Yoruba, he will tell you he's not speaking in Yoruba. He's speaking Olukumi. Because they are not Yoruba, but they are mutually intelligible. They are virtually the same language. Eastern, what we call Eastern Yoruba dialect. Now, that's what they're speaking. They don't tell themselves, they don't call themselves, and we don't call them Yoruba, we call them Olukumi. They are speaking, no Anioma person calls Ubodu man Olukumi, or Ukunzu man call Ubodu man Yoruba, Ukunzu man Yoruba. We call them Olukumi. That is their ethnic identity. Now, I've been to Sierra Leone. You go to Sierra Leone, you have Yoruba speakers there. What are they called? They are not Yoruba. They are Ako because they know that Yoruba belong to a particular group. And after all the time, Yoruba was given to them by Usman Danfodio's second son and successor, Mohammed Bello from Yareba. And that is their description, that is their name for Oyo Empire, for people of old Oyo Empire, Yareba. That was how they got the name. You are now talking about what? Anago. In Benin Republic, where Yoruba language is spoken. In Togo, where Yoruba language is spoken. It's not known as Yoruba, it's known as Anagon. Because to them, Yoruba is a distinct language. It is Anago that they are speaking. I hope Professor Abigail is listening to me. Let us even go further. The Nupoid. Who are the Nupoid? If you are not talking about, you are talking about Nupe proper. You are not talking about Ebira. You are not talking about Bagia. These are Nupoid. They are mutually intelligible. But they are distinct. Nupe is not Ebira. They don't understand each other. Nupe is not Bagi. They don't have mutually intelligible. They belong to the same, wider linguistic classification. Now, let us even go to Idumoid. You have Idoma. You have Igede, Utubo, and Alago. They're mutually intelligible. But Idoma is a distinct language. Igede is a distinct, Idoma is a distinct ethnic group. Igede is a distinct ethnic group. In Benue State today, the same thing with Etulo, the same thing with Alago. They don't understand each other. Now, let us even go to semi-Bantuoid, or what we call narrow Bantuoid now. You are not talking about the Efik, the Bibio, the Anang, the Oron, the Obelo, and the Ejegam. Let us even Anang. Now, let's even leave the Ejegam and Obelo. Let us even look at the popular ones among our people. When a Efik man speaks, and a Bibio man does not need an interpreter. When an Ibibio man speaks, an Oron man does not need an interpreter. When an Oron man speaks, when an Anang speaks, an Oron man does not need an interpreter. But these are distinct ethnic groups in Nigeria. These are distinct ethnic groups in Nigeria. And people who are ignorant of ethno-linguistics, who are ignorant of the subject of history, as a professional intellectual discipline and coming out to turn out half-truths over what they don't know. I will advise, the other time, what is it? Even the same mentioned K. Williamson. We should go out. She was even mentioning let's go statistics. What does he know about let's go statistics? What does she know? What does Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S know? What does she know about Professor K. Williamson? Professor K. Williamson was an expert in Igbo language, not Igbo. K. Williamson was an expert in Igbo language, and that was indeed where she did her PhD. She became interested in Igbo through her supervision of Professor Nolu Emenanjo's PhD thesis. Professor Nolu Emenanjo, late Professor Emmanuel Nolu Emenanjo, from my town. The first professor of Igbo language and culture. She supervised his PhD. That was when she got interest in Igbo language. That does not make her an expert in Igbo language. So I don't know the kind of references Professor Abigail is making round the clock, telling us trash, what she does not know. And she's talking about people coming to talk about a scientific journal. I have written, published books, and I've written my scientific journal on that. I challenge her to bring her own works to compare with me. Bring your own. Not to come in and start spilling nonsense because you're wearing the toga of a professor. Talking about what he's talking about. Let's go start. What is let's go start? What has it to do with Anioma identity in respect to Southeast Igbo? What has it to do with Ogwezzy language? She's from Emu, and she was telling me, she was saying that from my head to toe, everything is Igbo. What of your own name, Emu? Your town's name, Emu. What is the meaning of Emu? In Okwan, Emu means sickness or illness. In Okwan language. What does it mean in Igbo land? In Igbo language, it means Oya. Oya, whichever dialect you want to apply. Are they the same? You are talking about from your leg to toe. When you are not talking about Igoshi, children. Is it the same thing with Igbo land? Igoshi in Kwale. It means a kid. Umu Igoshi, children. In Igbo land, Umu Takere, Omwaka. You are talking about let's go statistics. How much have you done to study the impact of Ethno-Linguistic tradition into Anioma vocabulary, Anioma speeches? Go through even my own town, Ibuzo, which is one of the closest, if not the closest, when we are talking about core Igbo identity to the Southeast. Even our own internalized vocabulary, common names, personal names, about more than 60% are Edo in origin, not Igbo. Where did I decide to change to one Ogwezzy Igbo? Is to fully identify myself as an Igbo man. Because there are a lot of surnames. You are not this lady now, Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S. I don't know Ndisika'S or whatever. That may be a person. Her husband may be of non-Okwan origin. But Ogwezzy, she even anglicized it by putting Y at the end. Ogwezzy, which means she's not even proud of her culture. She's not even proud of the same ethnic identity she's talking about. It shows that she has an element of conflict of ethnic identity. Putting Y, Ogwezzy. What is the meaning of Ogwezzy in Igbo land? I can define Ogwezzy. What is the meaning of Ogwezzy? You are coming here to educate us on Anioma identity. You don't know. When even your name, you cannot clearly define your name. Ethnographically, you don't even know the etymology of your town's name, Emu. You don't even know that you are all part of Emu, which borders Isoko people, which borders Ozoro, your own part, your own quarter of Emu, which borders Ozoro by the express. Migrated from MA4 in Isoko North local government area. And that is why you today, you speak Isoko fluently as you speak Okwan. I am coming here to educate us on Igbo identity of Anioma people. Let me tell Professor Abigail Ogwezzy to don't search for my name, don't Google my name, but just Google article on Igbo Edo linguistic relationship. You see my work there, titled Language Factor in the Politics of Ethnic Identity Among West Niger Igbo of Nigeria. Go there. So you don't tell people scientific journal when you have not done any in that field. What is talking about ethno-linguistic, lexical statistics? What is lexical statistics? You don't discuss lexical statistics without glottochronology. And this is archaeological, archaeological and ethno-linguistic matter. Because it's from glottochronology that you cannot come to the issue of lexical statistics. And when you're talking of glottochronology, you're not talking about a change, the rate of change of language vocabularies over 1,000 years, which can now define at what year did Igbo and Edo, separate from each other as a common language. At what point did the Yoruba separate from the Igbo as a distinct language? Let us even take it, just as we're talking about socio-political and religious being the property of, being issue of, being defined as intricate, of intrinsic characteristics of ethnic identity. Because the separation between Igala and the Yoruba are distinct ethnic groups. It's not linguistic. It is political. It is social. The same thing with the Chakri. Separation of the Chakri as a distinct ethnic group from Yoruba land is not linguistic. It is political. The separation of Isoko people in the 1950s from Urobo, 1950s, yesterday, from Urobo as a distinct ethnic was political, not linguistic. Because even today, an Isoko man understands an Urobo man better than an Urobo man understand somebody from Okwe. When I mean Okwe, I mean the two local governments of Okwe and Saple. It's easier for an Urobo man from Ethiopia to understand an Isoko man than an Okwe man from Okwe. So you don't define ethnic identity based solely on linguistic properties. No, it doesn't work that way. So mutual intelligibility does not define common ethnic identity. Language, social, cultural factors, and whatever are often infused properties that define distinct ethnic identity. So if Anioma people say we are not Igbo, even though we're Igbo speaking, accept it that way. And that is not even enough reason. Not even enough reason for you to now say there must be part of the Southeast. Because politically, it did not work that way. I never worked that way throughout the existence as a people. There hasn't been any time, any part of the Midwest, any part of Igbo, any part of Anioma today was under the political dominance of any state, any town, any village or the Southeast. No time in history. So you look at the political aspect of it, when you're not talking about ethnic identity, You're not talking of lexical statistics. That is a calculation, the statistical calculation of the changes brought about by glottochronology. So what has that? You just hear terms, linguistic terms. You just try to put, who are you? Who is Abigail Ogwezzy trying to impress? Non-entities that clap for her, or ignoramuses that don't even know their history? They're telling us with that she doesn't even know Pale. Because if you go, let me even tell, I want to refer her. Because Igbo, how many of us know even the meaning of Igbo? What is the meaning of Igbo? Pale people, Tondokwa people, the term Igbo does not mean people, it means a slave. If she does not know. Even to this present time, the term Igbo, when they mention somebody as Igbo, in Ndokwa, it means that person is a slave. Igbo. That is the etymological meaning of the word Igbo people. So I don't know where Abigail Ogwezzy got her own idea. We're all Igbo. Ndokwa people will accept that classification, that identity. Because to them, an Igbo means slave. Even Igala. When Igala say you are Oye Igbo, it means you're a slave. That is Igala etymology of the word Igbo. I'm not going to go into the area, but let me even know that the idea, the concept of Igbo being of ethnic identity is not exclusive to the Southeast. So when I talk about Southeast, Igbo, it does not go that way. Yoruba historical analysis today may be developed. The oldest or the earliest definition of Igbo as a concept, as an ethnographic concept among Yoruba was developed by Ajayi Crowther in his 1858 dictionary of Yoruba, dictionary, grammar and dictionary of Yoruba language, published in 1858. And there were two definitions of the word IGBO. One is Igbo, which is forest, and the second is Igbo, which to Ajayi Crowther means a collection or a company of priests. That was Ajayi Crowther of Igbo. Then we can now come to even from James Johnson in his history of the Yorubas to Atanda, to other people, to Oromola and other people. Then you now come to the main ethno-linguistic or ethno-historical definition of Igbo. It's a group of people who were the aborigines of Ife. We're not talking about a concept of, we cannot say historically that the Igbo of Ife migrated from the southeast. People are talking about reverse, which reverse migration? It means they are not well taught in the intellectual business of ethno-historical development of southern Nigeria, right? You know, right from the Niger Benue conflicts. They shouldn't have said that. We are talking of Igbo. We have not, that's another topic which I will come later. But the Igbo of Ife is distinct from the Igbo of the Southeast. So when you're in class, if we even decide to classify the Western Igbo as Igbo, given the long history of, or let me say, the plethora of traditions of migration from the West towards the East, are we sure that if we even decide to classify them as Igbo, that they should not be the Igbo of Ife? Why must they always be the Igbo of the East? When it's because migration has been mutual, east-west, north-south, not linear. So Abigail should go back and study properly. Let me tell her first. First, the authority, just as I stated earlier, Ford and Jones are the main authority when you talk about Igbo classification. And he made it known. Let me even refer Let me read verbatim what Ford and Jones said in page 9, part 1 of their work. He said, let me quote, before the advent of Europeans, the Igbo had no common name. And village groups were generally referred to by the name of putative ancestral founder. The word Igbo has been used among peoples themselves as a term of contempt by the Reverend Igbo Oru for their hinterland congeners. That's what you are saying. And I grew up calling everybody east of the Niger as Ndi Igbo. Onitsha people and Ogbaru people will refer them as Ndi Igbo. Even in people, according to records, referred, according to Jeffries, MDW Jeffries, the people refer to other Igbo people as Ndi Igbo. So these are historical facts. So when did Igbo become the general nomenclature, the general ethnic identity of all the people speaking similar language? When? At what point in history? At what point in history? Maybe look at how he defines Western Igbo, those he call about the Northern and Southern Eka. To him, the present Eka and Anyocho are the Northern Eka, and Ndokwa and Okwan, Ndokwa group are known as the Southern Eka. That is how Ford and Jones define our ethnic identity, Northern and Southern Eka. So you can see that the original identity of our people, that Eka, by the Edo still remains. The Edo people never call us Ndi Igbo. It's a present concept. It's, just as I said, it originated from Talbot, then expanded by Ford and Jones. Now let me even see how Ford and Jones describe our own identity. Quote, this group is not a linguistic unit, and there are considerable linguistic differences between neighboring villages. Dialects in the northern area, that is when you're not talking of Anyocho, dialects in the northern areas, Anyocho, tend to become affiliated to that of Onitsha. That's our people. The Western Igbo group appears to be of diverse origins, owing to influences from, and possibly admixture of the Edo-speaking peoples to the west, unquote. That is Ford and Jones. So Professor Abigail Ogwezzy should go and read properly. Should go and read properly before coming before the people, before coming to the public to spin ignorance about what she doesn't know because she bears the title of a professor. Professor of what? Professor of history? Professor of anthropology? Professor of linguistics? Professor of archaeology? Professor of sociology? These are the core disciplines that can define the ethnic character, ethnic identity of Anioma people, not interlopers from disciplines that have no relation with ethno-linguistic or historical matters or ethnic studies. We're not talking about reporting, editing, and advertising of goods and water. That's not what we're talking about. Let us even look at, because she's talking about, let us even look at Ndukwa. Let me conclude by looking surgically into the ethnic character of the Ukwane people. Orogu, the home of the former Deputy Senate President, Orogu, they are Ukwane speaking. Their traditional ruler is known as Okwaruku. But are they Ukwane? Do they classify themselves Igbo? Do they classify themselves Igbo? Urugu? There are other even Igbo-speaking groups in Isoko land today. Do they classify themselves as Kwale? They are defined as Isoko. Urugu is defined as Urobo. We really not local government area. So when you are talking of ethnic identity, it does not rest on linguistic commonality, language commonality alone. It has to do with political, cultural, social, religious, and the likes. These are the collectives that define ethnic identity, not mere linguistics. Not all of those who speak Hausa language are Hausa people by ethnic definition. Professor Abigail, is it Ogwezzy? She should know this. And I'm waiting here for that debate she was boasting of on the social media. That is one people to let me see her own scientific journal, her own scientific article or book she has written on this topic before coming there to challenge people. Anybody who can do this, listen, scientific what? From mass communication. What can you write from mass communication about Anioma identity? Or you write as a journalist? Writing as a journalist is different. And at any rate, before you write as a journalist, you must have some elementary knowledge of the historical process of the people's development. Now, let us finally rest this matter. In Ndokwa East local government area alone, Abigail Ogwezzy is from Ndokwa West. As I said, her town, Emu, is mixed Isoko and Okwane. She speaks Isoko fluently, much as she speaks Okwane. Even at the earlier delineation, boundary delineation, colonial delineation, Emu was put as part of Isoko district, Osoro district. Now, if people don't know, in Ndokwa East alone, apart from the multiplicity of Igala and Edo traditions of origin, you have about 30, more than 30 Isoko speaking communities today in Ndokwa East. And these people are agitating for their local government, 2 local governments. They're agitating for what? They're agitating for Isoko Ame local government. They're agitating for Ase Creek local government area. From Ndokwa East local government area. And they want to join the Urobo people. And you're telling these people that they're going to join the Southeast? 30 communities? Because ignorance can be disaster. In political conceptualization of people's development, people's future, ignorance can be a serious disease in this matter. And that is the case of Professor Ogwezzy and Woko and his what do I call them? Miscreants, political miscreants, or historical miscreants, marauding around. Anioma people to the east, Anioma people who join Anioma to the southeast. 30 communities in Ndokwa East. We're not talking. Others come, they have from Benin, many of them, others, majority of them from Benin origin tradition and Igala origin tradition. Today, you are talking of Ajie as a general greeting of Ndokwa people. What is that? Ajie is an Igala concept. Ajie from Ajie, being man of strength, fearlessness. We're talking of Ajie. You don't even know that it's Ajie of Igbo origin. What is Ajie in Igbo? But that is not national greeting of Ndokwa people. Both Ndokwa East, Ndokwa West, including Ukwane local government areas. That one alone defines their let me put it, primordial non-Igbo identity. Let me name these 30 communities, because people may think It's just about fairy tale. Historians don't engage in fairy tale. You can see those who read who read non-fiction and who read fiction, within the language studies, but not for historians. We deal with facts. Facts can be provable. Proving facts, incontrovertible facts. See me, see you. Now, number one of Isoko speaking community in Ndokwa East local government. I'm going to mention 30, but there are more than 30. But these are the major towns. You have Onoboko, you have Ibuku, you have Afiankwo, you have Ansa, you have Awa, you have Ibrede, you have Ayama, you have Iyedame, you have Lagos Iyede, you have Wariri, you have Ushie. Ushie in particular, the home of my political godfather, Chief Godswill Obielom. Ushie. You are not telling me that someone like Chief Godswill Obielom will now say, let us go to Southeast. The political leader of Ndokwa East, which is Isoko speaking, by origin and tradition, will now say, let us go to Southeast. Because I don't know the way Nwoko and his people think in this matter. I don't know. I don't understand. You have Ukok, you have Umuti, you have Ogige, you have Egbeme, you have Osobia Owobia, you have Ewo Okrafo, you have Iyowo, yeah, you have Adiawa, you have Ige, you have Akaretiti, you have Ewo Okwe, you have Okporo, you have Ebere, you have Ewo Eboy, you have Utue, you have Ewo, yeah, you have Tebie, you have Ugute, and many other. These are Isoko, more than 30 Isoko speaking communities in Ndokwa East. And somebody like Professor Abigail is coming to tell us, where you go? Southeast! Because she wears the toga of a professor of mass communication. And Nwoko saw her as a veritable instrument to come to the press and spin out lies, falsehoods, and whatever. Let me make it known to her that Ogwezzy, she has said it, and I challenge her today. Let us come out and debate over this matter. If she's worth that her political accolade, that her intellectual accolade as a professor, I await you, Professor Ogwezzy, on the debate over Anioma ethnic identity. I am waiting for you. Thank you very much for listening. I greet every one of you. And I thank you. I say I the wait time. Anytime when she did ready, I did ready. Enough for this nonsense. Not be people go come tell us where we belong. I'm of Igbo ethnic group. I am of Igbo ethnic origin, not like others. I cannot impose my identity on those who said they are not Igbo. I no fit do am. And anybody when want do am, we go show and say the person knows study anything. Thank you. And God bless everybody for listening to me. As I wait Professor Abigail Ogwezzy-Ndisika'S. Thank you, everybody, and God bless you once again.